Hey, I'm Duke on Twitch. If you want to support the channel and greensunzenith.com, you can find my Patreon, merch store, and singles store where you can buy singles through TCG Player or Card Hoarder in the video description. If you want to get in contact, you can also find all that info in the description below for things like donation deck lists or just wanting to reach out. Alright, let's get right into it. Hey, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with the donation deck list from That Maverick Joe with what I want to call Jund Nicfit, a kind of mix between Nicfit and Maverick. This is a pretty cool take because Joe's wanted to find a way to not play mana dorks that open themselves up to Orcish Bowmasters in a Maverick style deck while also being able to ramp. So in that case, we've moved towards Veteran Explorer for this build, which is really nice in a deck with cards like Cabal Therapy, and obviously ways to trade off Veteran Explorer with things like Grist, hitting it with your own Orcish Bowmaster, Fiend Artisan, the list goes on. So this is a pretty cool deck. This is going to be a Green Sun Zenith package deck that also runs some pretty good hate bears in Collector Ouphe, Ramunap for the Wasteland lock, Questing Beast to really get through pressure, Titania just being a real nice endgame finisher, and then Planeswalkers in Minsc and Boo and Grist, which thankfully is also able to be found through Green Sun Zenith. For removal, to really be able to stall the board in ways, we do of course have Orcish Bowmaster, we have Plague Engineer as well, we do have Grist, and then Assassin's Trophy is kind of the go-to catch-all, which I definitely don't mind. We are really trying to get ahead of our opponents in the early game with hopefully a turn 1 Explorer into a turn 2 Cabal Therapy or some other way to get rid of Explorer. Also a great card to get through chip damage because a lot of opponents don't want to block it. But yeah, we obviously have the Green Sun Zenith package to rely on, and then having the Cabal Therapy package with Veteran Explorer, or even things like the Orcish Bowmaster tokens, is a really nice way to go after our opponent's hand if they're on some sort of combo deck, or we want to make sure they're out of cards like Source Plowshares. In the mana base, we have a lot of basics, mainly because of Veteran Explorer. We have 2 forests, 1 mountain, and 2 swamp. We do have a little Wasteland package as well for the Elvish Reclaimers. Castle Locthwain is pretty cool. This is a card that can really help you get ahead on cards in the mid to late game as well. And obviously things like Bojuka Bog and Dryad Arbor are pretty standard in these sort of lists, especially when you have the low to the ground Elvish Reclaimers over something like Knight of the Reliquary. This deck is pretty fair. Other than Cabal Therapy, doesn't really have too much in the way of fighting combo in the very early game. Sometimes you can be lucky and maybe get a Collector Ouphe or Orcish Bowmaster down, or maybe even Opposition Agent or Sheoldred before they get to combo off, but we do thankfully have some pretty nice sideboard cards in Surgical, Veil of Summer, and Blasts as turn 0 or turn 1 interaction. You could also say Force of Vigor is pretty strong against some combo decks, which is nice. Pernicious Deed is just a really nice way to clean up some of the other fair games that play to the board. A lot of creatures like Veteran Explorer we don't really necessarily mind if we get rid of, so I think Deed's pretty cool here. And then Ruination is kind of a flex, but I did want to see how it would perform and didn't want to change the list, so really keen to see if we come up to, yeah, casting this against a deck we play against. And then Sheoldred's Edict as removal I think is quite nice. Obviously this deck, other than Wasteland, is a little bit rough against Marit. No clean answers in things like Swords or Karakas, so I think Edict being able to deal with that is really nice. But yeah, otherwise, really cool to see Joe play around with this sort of deck. It's always nice when a card like Bowmaster comes into the format and does obviously make X1s less appealing. So Joe's gone, you know, what sort of X1s can we play? And which X1s does Orcish Bowmaster not really want to take care of? And that is Veteran Explorer. So pretty happy to see that. And yeah, see how this goes. If you have any questions, you can find the deck list in the video description below, along with the Moxfield link. Let's get gaming. Hey, welcome back to round 1. We have a 1-lander. We do have access to Dryad Arbor off of Green Suns. We have double pieces of removal and then Ramunap if we get up to that stage, but I think in this sort of match, if I kept a one-lander, it would most likely be with some sort of combination of Veteran Explorer and also Cabal Therapy or a second land. So I think I'm happy to mulligan this. Hopefully towards something with the mana that goes right, and then we can go from there with spells. Okay. This one doesn't help. Obviously worse than the opener because the one land we have doesn't produce green, but that is fine. We can find a pretty nice 5 here. And this is like what we talked about. We would keep a one-lander with some amount of Veteran Explorer and also Cabal Therapy. So pretty happy to keep this. So the Veteran Explorer will hopefully get us 2 lands, which gets us up to 3. The Verdant would be turned on for the Ramunap, which is pretty nice. We are going to keep this. I think the Collector Ouphe has a high chance of being just a vanilla creature, so we're going to put back that. And then it's between the Endurance and the Ramunap. I don't mind the Ramunap. There is a world where we want to use the flashback of Cabal Therapy, and using the Verdant from the graveyard, we can do that because we can go and get Dryad Arbor. So I'm actually going to put back the Endurance here. Tough call though. All right, gonna be up against most likely Grixis Delver, but you never know. Okay. I think here I'm actually happy to ramp. We could go with Veteran Explorer. I don't really want to run this into a Daze. I'd much rather run the Green Suns into a Daze, but there's also a world where if they don't have Daze, there's no real great options to be able to deal with the Veteran Explorer. The question is, if they have Daze, how much of this hand, how is this hand going to function without Veteran? And honestly, pretty poorly. So I kind of like Bayou into Green Suns for Dryad Arbor this turn, because the next turn, hopefully, we get to go Veteran Explorer into Cabal Therapy. And then hopefully flashback as well. So let's do that. Go for Bayou. Green Suns for Arbor. This sort of opening could potentially put my opponent on thinking we're on Elves. Otherwise, potentially some sort of bug deck that plays a Green Suns package. Okay, well, this is a pretty tough spot. Bolt Wasteland is very good against that start. Now we need to be pretty lucky off the top, and we aren't, unfortunately. There is a world where we could have gone for a basic forest, but that really hurts our mana. I think in that sort of position, I'm happy to put our opponent in the position where they have to have Wasteland and Bolt. And yeah, they had it. Still just 1, which is quite good for us. 2 3-drops isn't really where I want to be with this hand, but it was definitely a little bit of a risk against the Delver deck going for turn 1 Duel into mana producing creature. But, you know, 1 land off the top and turning on Veteran Explorer would be pretty nice. Okay, so they're going to be a Beanstalk deck. They show the Wasteland, which is good for us. Forest is pretty nice. Daze is fine. Obviously not great, but I think right now we're in a position where we're just trying to find out more information about our opponent's deck than most likely winning this match. But it would be kind of nice to see if they're a Goyf deck, if they're just playing like Hooting Mandrills potentially and Murktide. They are casting something here. It will be a Murktide. Okay. So I think for this board, we'll definitely bring in the Blasts and probably the Veils. I don't mind just getting a Swamp here. And probably just doing Trophy. They could be a Spell Pierce deck, to be fair. So potentially we just want to go after this Murktide now. This also opens up to main deck Force Negation, but they could just untap and do that anyway. Wow, no basic either, unless it's in the opening hand. But they didn't play a land last turn, I don't believe. Yeah, because they cast the Beanstalk with Wasteland open. Okay. It's definitely a plan. I think like it has to be like Bog into another land. Yeah, Beast isn't going to do it. Well, they're going to force it. I was going to name Lightning Bolt there, but I think in any case, we take 6, we go to 1. So even if we draw something like a Bog, it doesn't get through. But yeah, you can see against Delver where it's really important for any sort of green creature deck to just get your mana right. And, you know, keep a hand that has maybe 4 lands, 3 spells. You probably want one of those spells to be a removal spell, but really important here to be able to get your mana right and not allow your opponent to win from sort of some of the positions we were in. So I think here I'm pretty happy to cut off some of the top end. So things like Titania, and obviously some bears like Collector Ouphe. Beast, I don't mind Sheoldred. I don't like Opposition Agent. Plague Engineer is fine. The Endurances and the Grists are fine. The Minsc's not as great, especially against a Bolt deck. Trophies as removal are nice. Cabals are still okay, I think, especially when paired with the Explorers. I don't think Safekeeper is needed as well. We were talking about the Blasts. So put those over here. The Edicts as removal, and then also the Veils, which I think is actually 7. So let's have another quick look. Some early creatures in Reclaimer. Reclaimer are a great bolt target in the early game, so if we can get these down as 3/4s, I'd be very happy. I think this is it. I don't think we need the Deed, so pretty happy just to run this back. Really interesting to see them not have the basic in the deck. Look, this is Veteran Explorer, so pretty happy to keep this. Especially with Cabal. There is a world where they either force this or Wasteland us, but I think just with being such a low curve hand, I'm pretty happy about this. Again, risky, but I think here we get to do some pretty cool things. Well, they're going to force it. Okay. Now I'm pretty happy to actually Cabal. Storm's fine. My thought is they probably kept a daze just in case of a second land into spell. No, okay. Well, they kept a lot of lands and up the beanstalk with one card on top. None of these are Wasteland either, which is great for us. Also kind of forcing the brainstorm's really nice. I think now I'm happy to try to ramp a little bit. I don't think it's worth using Cabal here. But next time we can use Green Suns for Veteran Explorer to then flashback Cabal. It does turn off the Green Suns for now. DRC's okay. There's a Scalding Time. We still know about these two. I think I want to cast this. And I just want to name Force of Will. I think it's the only other card that could have, unless it's another land. Okay. Instant land in the bin right now. I'm happy to hold back the Reclaimer. There's a world where they don't play another land, just hold these for Brainstorm. But they play the Volk. Okay. It's pretty good. Okay. Two cards left for them. At this stage, I'm happy just to play the Bowmaster at sorcery speed, try to take out a DRC here. Potentially get to a world where we can get rid of the other Dragon Reach to turn on Sheoldred's Edict. So I really want to use this trophy most likely on the Grafdigger's Cage, but I guess we'll see. This could just be a Hooting Mandrills. Okay. I get to kill the DRC here. That's actually really nice. They have two cards left. Another one. I guess up the beanstalk with Dragon Ridge Channeler is pretty funny. Again, let's just yeah, let's just do this now. mean, if we get Sheoldred down, that also blocks the Hooting Mandrills quite well. We also get to Flashback Therapy first. So a land off the top here would be really, really nice. Ooh, okay. So let's go to attacks first. Get in for 2. Now we have Cabal Therapy. Oh, we can't because of the Grafdigger's Cage. Well, I guess we just have to hope here. At least if they hardcast Force? No, wow. That he saved. Yeah, Grafdigger's Cage obviously hitting Cabal Therapy was not on my bingo card. I think sadly now we are just dead, because we're dead to the flyer. Maybe there's a world where I was supposed to put something in front of the mandrills first. We don't gain life until our next turn. Green Suns is turned off. Non-token creature, which is anything here. Maybe we just have to pass with mana up and act like we have something. This needs reach. Yeah, tough. Mana definitely an issue in these games. But also greedy keep from me. We did keep 1-landers. Yeah, that's gonna be it. Alright. We'll see you for round 2. Hey team, back for round 2. This hand is a little bit better. It is obviously pretty tough with having the Dryad Arbor here, but I think like being able to hold up the Reclaimer, potentially Green Suns for Veteran Explorer down the road, or Grist, I'm pretty happy to see how this goes. Again, just a hand where it gets the mana right early on. We can hide the Taiga for a little bit. We can go Bayou into Swamp. Leyline, okay. That kind of turns off the power of Reclaimer and the utility of Ramunap. But Green Suns for Collector Ouphe in this matchup might be good enough. Well, there goes the Green Suns. Okay. Plague Engineer, not too relevant here, potentially against a Bowmaster. Pretty happy to play out the Dryad Arbor. Attack for 1, then next turn potentially play a 3-drop. This is kind of the turn to get the Dryad Arbor online as well, which is nice. But if they do have Bowmaster, then losing that mana for a turn is pretty rough. Okay. That's fine. Play the Taiga. Play the Ramunap. Thankfully, like, we have all our mana set, so any top deck is pretty good. We don't want to hit something like Green Suns, but otherwise looking in an okay spot. I'm having a real think. 2 cards left. Thoughtseize, Ritual, Opposition Agent. I think Minsc off the top would be fantastic. It's pretty an easy one though. Sheoldred wouldn't be too bad. Titania is obviously not that great with Leyline here. I think there is a few cards we can take out, but I do of course like the Veils. I probably like the Force of Vigors as well. It's probably just those 5. Bitter Blossom. Okay. Oof, there's Sheoldred. Okay. I'm going to start with the attack of Ramunap. No blocks. Sheoldred plus Bitter Blossom is going to be tough for them. This is fine. Honestly, we don't have to play the board anymore. We have Sheoldred kind of locking with Bitter Blossom here. Like Wasteland would be quite good, I guess, to take them off the Ancient Tomb potentially. Because I think like a Helm line is probably their main way to win here, but take 3, we gain 2. Wow, they named Cleric? That's very interesting, because I'm not too sure what they would think about. Is Orc a Cleric? Wow, Grist? Huh. Well, Grist, welcome to the party. Honestly, here, just to get Wasteland online, we could tap. Do I want to lose the Grist to the Fairy? That's the question. My line here is float a mana, lose the Dryad Arbor to deal with the opposition agent, and then float another mana to go and find Wasteland, so then we can untap next turn and take out their tomb. Just to take them off that line of having of Helm over 2 turns, I guess. I think I'm happy to lose the Grist in that case. No great attacks. Ah, they went up to the Ramunap. Okay, there we go. You learn something new every day. Ramunap Excavator is a Cleric. Wow, nothing. Okay. That's good for us. They didn't even attack the Grist with the flying. Interesting. That, I feel like maybe they thought one of these creatures had reach. But not attacking the Grist is pretty huge, right? Now we get to keep the Grist around. I'm going to hold this as unknown. Sheoldred really pulling her weight in this matchup. Nothing too much to do here. We're at 26 life, which is pretty funny. Bowmasters is fine. Don't really care about Bowmasters here. Wow, they go after the Grist, but they didn't kill the Grist before. Maybe there's a world where they couldn't attack because any creature getting through just increases this clock. Because now they go to 1. So maybe that was it. Maybe they didn't feel like they could kill the Grist because they couldn't have an attacker. Alright, we talked about these 5. Deeds are interesting. We'll put those in the maybe. Edict is okay because even though they have Bitter Blossom tokens to get rid of, we can just make them sacrifice a creature or a non-token creature. Alright, Titania, I think again just because of the graveyard. Ramunap, most likely as well. I would assume they're keeping the ley lines. I could see Reclaimers, but I don't mind those. They are playing Opposition Agent, which is a little bit tough. I could see the Endurances coming out. I really like this shell. Agent potentially too. Just play a lower to the ground. Ouphe I don't mind. I would assume they're a Chromox deck. I could see a cut of things like Safekeeper. Or maybe 1 Edict. Maybe an Explorer as well, because that's when it dies. For the other. Yeah. Honestly, it might just be all keep 1 for Green Suns and bring in 1 Deed as a just in case. Okay. Yeah, okay. I don't mind this. Again, mana's really strong. Doesn't have Force of Vigor, which is probably the card that I'm looking for, or maybe Veil, but Reclaimer into Sudden Edict or Bowmaster seems pretty strong. Now this is just, it has to be, this is only ritual into Opposition Agent, so let's go Taiga first. Wow, they have nothing? Did not expect that. It must be a very good 2-drop, or potentially 3-drop here. What's it gonna be? Oh, okay. Well, now we can fetch, which is fantastic. Ooh, with a Veil? That's nice. Let's go get a Bayou here. Pass back. Now this hand's looking really nice, because then we get to hold up Veil and Orcish Bowmaster, or Veil and Sheoldred Edict next turn. We will counter that. I think here I'm happy to play the Swamp out. Deed's interesting. I mean, Deed does potentially stop like Leyline into Helm over 2 turns because we get to hold up the Deed, so I'm actually pretty happy with that. I don't think they'd have a way to get rid of it either. This also makes it awkward for them to put things on the board. Did they have something to do? Surely. They've only played Thoughtseize Edict so far. Surely that they have something. But maybe they're considering not playing it because of the Deed, like an Opposition Agent or a Bowmaster. I wonder if they have Dismember as a way to deal with Sheoldred. And there's the agent. Okay. Discard, mill 3 cards, and return a creature or planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand. Huh. Okay. Alright, opponent. They played out the Helm, which is very interesting. Options. Holding up Deed, holding up Sheoldred's Edict, holding up Bowmaster. Honestly, I kind of like all of them. Happy to take the hit here. And then most likely get a little 2-for-1. They're gonna Helm. Okay. Target opponent mills a card, then repeats this process until a creature card is milled. Is it target opponent? Yes. One or more creatures. What do we put into the graveyard? Interesting. Or Reclaimer? Okay. But then it just gets taken out. Okay. Here I like probably just Dryad Arbor into Sheoldred. To really make as much use of our mana as possible. The Sheoldred and Ancient Tomb also are going to really line up well. I guess they could have Helm, Ritual, Voidwalker, and then activate Helm. That'd be pretty cool. Okay. I guess Plague naming Dryad Arbor and then take out the Sheoldred with some sort of sack effect? No. Honestly here, happy again just to hold up all of these. Leyland's okay. If they attack with the Plague Engineer here... No. Maybe we have lethal. I think we nearly do, actually. Let's go Bowmaster. Ping them. And then they sacrifice a non-token creature. And now I'm pretty happy just to hold up Veil and Trophy. Go to 1, can't use the Ancient Tomb. Unless they play something like a Yawgmoth. Nice. Very cool to get on the board. That was a pretty rough match for our opponent. They didn't have too many things, or if they did, they didn't have them in a way that sequenced smoothly. Like, you know, no turn 1 Thoughtseize, no turn 1 like Ritual into Opposition Agent, things like that. So pretty happy to take that one. We're on the board. We'll see you in the next. Alright team, welcome back to Deuce on Twitch. We're back with a pretty good one. We have turn 1 Green Suns into turn 2 Grist potentially, with Endurance hold up if needed, so pretty happy to keep this. Let's also turn on this card display. There we go. A huge thank you to you watching on YouTube. If you do enjoy this content, make sure you subscribed. Also let me know in the comments if you would sideboard differently, or put a timestamp to different plays you think you might take instead of the ways that I went about things. But yeah, Green Sun's Dryad Arbor, turn 2 Grist. Let's do it. It's also beat Reanimator through Thoughtseize. Okay. Okay. That's a tough one. So non-basic lands into tapped. So I might as well play the Bog here. Pitching this Dungeoneer makes me think they have another one coming. Elemental. Yeah, there it is. This might be a pretty quick game. Wow, no attacks. Didn't see that coming. What do I like here? I think it's the Dungeoneer that I want to take care of. The Archon is also tricky. Is the Grist going wide worth it? The Endurance can't block the Archon because this will give protection. Or it's just an Archon. Okay. In that case, I don't mind just playing probably the Wasteland tapped, and then passing with Endurance open. Unless they Forge. But still getting another creature on the field is nice. Oh, they Forge into that, okay. Give them back the Chalice. We get to block, which is huge. Surely they thought about Endurance here. Okay, maybe not. Okay. Yikes. Taking 10? I think at this point, taking them off the Ancient Tomb isn't worth it. I would need to play a second green source here to turn on the Endurance. So I don't mind playing the Bayou. Could try to Cabal our opponent. Potentially naming Solitude. I think that's the play. Just so that this Endurance can definitely hit. Just mana. Okay, so the Wasteland's obviously pretty ineffective. Oh, the trap also gets us to 9. Yeah. I mean, just to start here, it has to be fetch land into Grist minus and hope they don't have a creature here off the top. They play a cavern. Ooh. That doesn't do it. Protection. Just a little too late. Let's have a quick think. Let me sacrifice a creature. Yeah, tough. Okay. Obviously, we like the edicts and the forces. I don't think I want the Pernicious Deeds. Again, Titania is just a little bit too slow here. The Collector Ouphe isn't too bad. Like it does potentially hit their mana. Endurance was quite good that game. Plague Engineer is fine. I could honestly see the some amount of Cabals coming out. Is Ouphe worth it really? Probably not, to be honest. Especially when we only have two basic, two Wastelands. The Bog can definitely come out. I mean, that is 60. There's a world where we could Deed on 0 just because of Chalice and Chromox. I don't mind that. Bowmasters are just creatures to get around. Yeah. This isn't a great hand, especially with the mana. Turn on Dryad Arbor. That's really it. No. Okay, this is better. But the drop is the hard part here. We really want that turn 2 Fiend Artisan. I also really want to keep 3 lands, so this is actually a tough one. Let me know in the comments how you would mulligan here. I'd love to know. It could just be the trophy, because Grist gets rid of creatures, Force of Vigor gets rid of anything else that I care about. I could aggressively go after the Chromox here, but I won't. Ooh. Still no. It's like 4th. Okay. Pretty happy to fetch up Dryad Arbor here just to get back that. Okay. All right. Take the Monarch. I think we have to try to go for Wasteland into Force of Vigor here. I think Grist is just a little bit too slow here. Okay, happy with this. Well, not happy, but here we are. No attacks. Okay. Interesting. Honestly, here, I think we just hold up the Reclaimer to become a 3/4 and also to turn the Dryad Arbor into a land. Yeah. You'll no attacks, really? Probably don't mind just getting swamped. Maybe correct to attack there and see how they block. I think it was actually correct to attack there. They block with the Dungeoneer, we can take it out with the Bowmaster. But yeah, this deck's insane. Very hard to keep up with in this sort of deck. Just a lot of the removal doesn't line up well. Doesn't actually matter if I ping one. Go to 2, which is pretty rough. especially with 7 cards in hand. Yeah. That is lethal. Tough. Alright, we'll see you in the next. Hey team, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch for round 4. We have a keep. Turn 1 Green Sun's Dryad Arbor, and then a lot of options turn 2. Okay. Not the worst. Because we do have Forest Go. And then we probably want a Green Suns for a Elvish Reclaimer. Could also go for a Veteran Explorer here. I don't mind that, honestly. Makes it very hard for them to attack. I kind of just like Ouphe here because it turns off the Fable. Magus and Warboss go to the bin. 3 mana. Another Fable, okay. Don't mind the attack with Ouphe here because if they're not attacking, then they obviously are making drops with the Shaman. That's pretty good. Kind of hope they had to attack with the goblins to actually get mana going, but now we're just kind of stuck unless we draw Swamp exactly. Yeah. Actually, I should have attacked first. Oh, I should have attacked first and then obviously got the basic off the initiative. Yeah, that's my bad. I should have thought of that before I played a land. That's a huge bummer. But here we are. Definitely blocking. Alright, so here we just want forest and swamp. I probably want to at least play the Endurance here. Do I want to target myself? No, because I want Fiend Artisan to be big. I don't mind them getting these cards, but Bowmaster's a little bit rough. I'll attack first and see what they do. Kind of hope they make a copy of the Goblin and then block. The funny thing is they probably find more basics than I do. No, okay. Do they copy? No copies, wow. I guess they can probably make a big number of reflections here. So you copy, give one haste, copy, give one haste, yeah. That might actually just do it, yeah, because they make so many. Yeah, tough. Here we like the forces. I don't mind the Sheoldred's edicts. Deed's interesting. What don't we like? Plague Engineer I like because of the goblins. Agent, not so much. Sheoldred's a nice body. That's about it. Endurance can most likely come out. Obviously a nice blocker, but otherwise pretty bad. Bowmaster actually doesn't line up too well. To be fair, it does block like the goblin token. You get to deal one to it and then block it with the token. Same with Rabblemaster. Maybe they're okay. Titania's a bit high the curve. I've been citing this out a lot. Maybe that's something to take consideration of. Trophies are good. Collector Ouphe's good. Cabals aren't bad, but I could see one going down. Resting Beast, Minsc, Grist. Probably just an Endurance. There we go. Let's have another quick look. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Deed cleans up the board. Especially for 0. Maybe it's worth having a Deed. Probably over the Sheoldred. And the Bog. Let's go with double Deed. This is just Reclaimer into Trophy potentially, or Sheoldred Edict. Here's a 2-lander, which I'm not a big fan of, but it does have double Minsc. But Reclaimer isn't, like, obviously ramping us. I think I'd rather mulligan this towards potentially a Veteran Explorer hand. Look, not great either. 2 3-drops in mana. I think we can do better with a 5, but obviously at a 5 it's also pretty tough when our opponent has looked to keep a 7, I think. Force of Vigor also now gets a lot worse as well, going down to 3 cards if we want to force. Maybe this is okay. No, I don't think it is. Like turn 1 Rabble, turn 1 Moon, they've mulled to 6 as well. Oh, yikes. Yeah. Safekeeper could have come out as well. This can go. It's probably the Deed here. Can Green Suns into. We can't even Green Suns here. I think we have to kind of just hope they kept a hand with Ouphe, and like we can go turn 1 Dryad Arbor, turn 2 Ouphe in Wasteland, and hope that's good enough. We will get the forest. Well, there's like, that's what we said. Wasteland and Collector Ouphe. Ugh. I like the attack here. Wow, okay. I mean, that turns on many other colors, which is nice. No great attacks here, unfortunately. I think we just... no, I should actually... get rid of the Dryad Arbor here, get a Swamp, and then get back the Dryad Arbor. Tough. Rough. Definitely a tough one to go to 4-2, but the like turn 1 Magus is really tough. There has been a few times tonight where I've wanted like maybe Bolt in the deck as just early interaction. That'd be pretty sweet, but hopefully we can go into the last one with a win. So we'll see you then. Hey team, welcome back for the last match. We actually have a pretty good hand. We have acceleration into hopefully one of these two. So we'll see how this unfolds. Let's keep this. Probably go for a Taiga and then play the Urborg. It's been cool playing this deck. It's always nice to try out new things when formats have moved towards certain cards. Really enjoyed the process of like talking to Joe in emails back and forth about the list. Yeah. Highly admire. Oof. Doomsday potentially? Never know these days. Trolls? Oh, actually. No. That's a nice one. Get to see their deck. Okay. It's probably just a C, right? Oh, but we don't get to see what the hand was. Stifle, reanimate, ponder. We'll see. Oh, of course they can still reanimate it. That's fine. We do have the trophy. I guess we start with trophy. They're gonna brainstorm. This is actually a tough one because if we play the Bowmaster, yeah, we get some value. But we don't get to play around days on the trophy. It's actually pretty nice. What's the play? I am gonna go for it, just because we might even be able to race the troll. And sure, if they want to daze, they can daze, but potentially we can just go wide. Especially if this gets bigger, like we know about the ponder in the hand potentially. Wow, okay. Well, that's pretty sweet. And we get the basic? Oh my gosh. And we get to see their hand again? Okay. Alright, one sec. I'm going to quickly save this. This is a great time for you to subscribe to the channel if you're still watching. I very much appreciate you. Let's take the swamp. What does Wasteland do there? Ah, turning on the Fatal Push. Okay. That's fine. What now? Ponder just kills you. 1 blue. Wow, Brainstorm doesn't do it either. Yes. 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 It's a good one for Joe. Thanks, Joe. All right, we are looking at a deck that I really like Veil against. I like the Edicts as well. And I think because we have Edicts and Trophies as our main removal, we don't need anything like Surgical to deal with Trolls or Griefs. Ouphe can easily come out. Sadly, I think it is Titania as well. Just a little bit, like I don't really want to have it in the opening, and it's okay, I guess, late game, but no. Plague Engineer, I could see coming out. They probably play their own Bowmasters. They'd probably keep them in, potentially. Agent was pretty strong there. Beast can probably come out. Minsc and Grief are great. Bowmasters are great. Reclaimers. Could see Cabal Therapy coming down. Not really the bit like a big Cabal Therapy matchup. The Blasts are actually quite good as well. Let's take out the Therapies for the Blasts. Maybe just one Explorer for that. Actually, the Safekeeper I can take out. This isn't sort of a matchup where we want the Safekeeper to be protecting something like the Ouphe, so I think this is pretty good. Veteran Explorer is a really cool card, and I'm happy it's found somewhat of a home in Legacy, although not at the top tables for now. This is a great hand. 2 mana, acceleration, creatures, interaction, removal through Grist. Pretty happy to keep this. Looking hopefully just to go wide with the board, I think. Island Pond is pretty good. It means I guess they could still put Troll in the bin off the island and then reanimate next turn off a swamp. No shuffle. A land is actually great. Let's go with probably Bayou here. The Dryad Arbor. I love this song as well. Just gonna... Probably my favorite in the Harris Heller stream beats. Okay. Honestly, here I kind of like Reclaimer, play around Days, and then Wasteland the Underground Sea. We do know about Fatal Push. Oh, I wonder if they reanimate the Grist here. That'd be pretty sweet. And then maybe trade the Orc token for the Reclaimer. That'd be gas. That'd be very, very cool. Honestly, I think just because of that, I'm happy to play the... just play the castle this turn. And then just hold up Reclaimer for Bog, hold up Orcish Bowmaster. But yeah, I would say that most of the time playing decks, especially with Grist, I'm more afraid of a reanimate targeting my graveyard, a creature in my graveyard, than my opponent's. Yeah. Sadly, I've just got to bog myself here. But if they miss a land drop, that's huge. We also have 2 lands plus Reclaimer to grow it again, which is really nice. I like Bowmaster here taking out Bowmaster. And then fetching to play another Reclaimer off a... probably just a forest. As it's probably the land that I want to get rid of. Potentially the bog is, but we'll see how that plays out. Get to attack in here as well. Ooh, Murktide. Okay. That's a little bit scary. But Assassin's Trophy or Blast. They have 3 cards left. Let's try it out while you're tapped out. Nice. Play a Reclaimer. They're missing land drops, so let's put the bog into the bin. Go and get a Wasteland. And then attack with these 2. Now in a really good spot. I mean, Blast off the top is killer, but 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. If they have a Brainstorm, we have lethal. They can block with the Orc token, but pretty tough spot for them. Not being able to reanimate the turn they grief was pretty huge. Oof. Okay. Honestly here I could use the Edict, but I'm happier to just attack with everything but the Bowmaster. Because they're in a position to let go of it anyway. I mean, now we just have Edict around days, which is perfect. Yeah, I was going to say, even a Plague Engineer here isn't good enough. They get to name Orc and then also have a blocker, but we just have exactly what we need. Non-token creature. Even if they force here, we still have it. So, look, we finish 2-3, which to be fair for like a Nicfit kind of take on Mav isn't too bad. Let's go back to the deck list here. All right, just quickly do some sorting out. We've got these veterans. I think if anything tonight, the Titania, which was my idea, I thought it might be strong enough, just wasn't really where we wanted to be. The Cabals were fine, but a lot of the time we just didn't really have the situation where we had both. I'm just going to put some cards over here. The Minscs we didn't really see. The Questing Beasts we didn't really see. The Grists were fine, or Grist was. It is nice to have something like Plague Engineer in the deck as well. I think with Orc running around, it's always tough. I wouldn't say because these are just 3 elves and not 4 elves is the reason why we didn't see them together a lot. The Reclaimers are actually really good. The Ouphe was fine. Agent had its moment. I think Endurance is obviously just a solid card, especially in a Field of Delver. I do see the reasoning for the main deck Bog, but I will say tonight it just wasn't great. But
but at the same time, it didn't really come up to not be relevant, if that makes sense. Like against the Archon deck, it was going to come in tapped anyway. So I don't mind the Bog alongside the Endurance as like main deck hate. I think the Titania probably wasn't good enough. I feel like if we get to that sort of mana, we have so many things to do anyway that we don't need the kind of free win condition of Titania plus Safekeeper. So potentially that's a spot that could be dropped. Safekeeper is nice to protect things like Plague Engineer or Opposition Agent. You know, if you can protect an agent against elves, it's very good. If you can protect Collector Ouphe against 8-cast or some sort of storm deck, it's usually very good, if not game winning. Bowmaster's great. We don't have great things to sack. Like obviously some depths decks do have Flagstones of Trocare, which is great to sort of sacrifice to Sylvan Safekeeper and not really go down on lands. Ramunap was fine. Really, more so for us just hitting land drops more than trying to get Wasteland online, but it is nice to kind of have that going. Yeah, I think if anything, it's probably the Titania that I'd look at changing. Potentially even looking at the trophies, potentially having bolts, and then the Titania could be some sort of Green Sun's way to deal with artifacts or enchantments like Outland Liberator. I think would be fine in this sort of deck. So Liberator would be pretty good. I'm gonna write some notes as I put together the email for Joe. The board was nice. We actually pretty much sided in everything over except for the surgicals, which is actually pretty yeah, not very typical for a league. Usually you do come against upper graveyard decks, so nice to have the surgicals, but yeah, honestly, one league. We'll get through another as well and see how that performs, but I think there's some small changes we can do. Maybe even the castle. Maybe the castle could be a draw land or another wasteland. It's a little bit tough if we're actually ramping some opponents while also trying to take them off lands, but castle being able to draw a card is pretty interesting. Having to come in with a swamp isn't too bad for us, but it can come up where this comes in tapped, just like Bojuka Bog. Yeah, a big thank you to Joe for sending through the donation deck list. If you want to do one yourself, definitely check out the Green Sun Zenith support page where you'll find all the information for that. Until then, you can find the deck list in the video description below or on Moxfield. Please follow the channel if you do enjoy this content. And until next time, enjoy your week.